Here comes a killer with a mask of many colors. Here's your look at the Mego Scream Ghostface 8-inch action figure. Marty Abrams, aka the father of the action figure, has relaunched these figures in response to an overwhelming demand. Mego Corporation was started by his father David Abrams in 1954 and named by his younger brother Howard. Howard later became head of sales for the company. Mego Corporation has sold over 20 million of its now standard 8-inch action figures worldwide, and Mego Corporation is proud to take over that fine heritage today. Wonder what Sydney's favorite color is. Before we get a closer look at the new Mego Ghostface from Scream, let's go ahead and get this guy measured off. Now, I ordered this one online. You may choose for yourself to probably get this guy in the wild, simply just because he's released in 6 different colors. And if you order him online, it's to the discretion of the people that run the site to choose which color you're going to be getting. I'll show you those colors in a second. I ended up getting purple, which I guess isn't bad. The purple does look good with Ghostface, but if you are specifically one that wants to get a color over the others, it's probably best advised to get this guy in the wild. That being said, though, Ghostface is about 8 inches in height, or the figure's going to be about 20 centimeters tall. Yeah, talking a little bit about the various colors that Ghostface comes in. On the back of the card, you can see all the 6 colors of the killer. The more original color being the one in the top corner, but then various shades of blue. There's like the one from kind of closest to Stab, I would say. There's the purple, there's the blue, and then down below there's pink and orange. The one I would be the least interested, honestly, to get would be either one of these, and thank goodness I didn't get this. It really does work against the collector to have these randomly selected. It's only up to the onus of the person that's working there that's pulling from the stock to decide that maybe you might be the one that gets the orange Ghostface and then the next person gets a pink Ghostface. It would certainly be working against Lady Luck, I think, to try to order all 6 at one time, unless the person that looks at your order says, okay, I think this person clearly wants to get one of every color and then chooses one of every color, or they might just be an absolute jerk and just grab 6 pink Ghostface. Anyways, moving that to the side, let's look at the accessories that come included with the figure. First of all, he comes included, I say first of all, only of all, the figure comes included with his butcher knife. The knife itself is quite soft of plastic. It's not to the point where at least I got it out of the packaging and it was warped. Oh, I have a little bit of tape. Let's just remove that off the end of it. But at least he does have the means to store, or I should say to hold the knife. If you look at either one of his hands is a contender for holding the knife. Let's go ahead and get that knife into, say, this hand for right now. I would have liked if he had come included with a mic box, like the voice box changer. But a lot of times we don't tend to see him actually using the voice changer in the movies. I think it's only in the recent movie that we actually did see him actually holding the voice box. But he at least comes included with a knife, so at least that's something. Let's get this out of his hand for right now. Getting a closer look at Ghostface. Yes, while I did get the purple, I guess it could have been worse, as I always would say to myself. And I knew very well going into this. I actually ordered this over on Entertainment Earth, and it very clearly, I think it even very clearly says on their site that it's a randomly selected item. So it's just basically luck of the draw. Purple, I have to say, does work well for the mask. I do like the coloring of it. And just to kind of show you what they've essentially done, if I just peel back the hood here, it's attached only here. Everything else is still loose. But it looks literally to be the case that they've molded it all in white plastic, and I'm guessing that would have been the case with all of them, and then they just literally have painted the front of it. So it's not even so much a different appliance on the front of the head. It's just the same head, and they just have painted the different colors. It's actually a good-looking Ghostface mask, and one of my favorite things about the hood is, well, maybe it's too close, I feel, to the corners of the face. I do like the long point that they have on the end of the hood. It's actually one of the better Ghostface I've seen that actually have a really long point in the end of it. It looks really good on the figure. Of course, underneath all of the robe is he just has a standard, let's just peel everything up here so you can kind of see. He is wearing pants, which is kind of strange, a little bit strange to see. I would have liked if they could have gone with something more like a black denim, or like a kind of more of a black, thicker material, not something that blends so closely to the robe itself. Speaking of robes, though, this one also happens to have a belt. However you feel about the idea of Ghostface wearing a belt, the larger 6-scale Ghostface, for example, came included with a belt. I took it right off. I just didn't like the idea that he actually had it. This one looks like it's actually been sewn in place. So even if you didn't like it, you'd really have no choice. It's permanently attached to the robe. The robe, for all intents and purposes, there's a Velcro closure on the back here that you could open it up if you wanted to. But what you'd be seeing underneath is just a black molded body for Ghostface. His arms are also black too, which is one cheat, I suppose, that at least if you rolled the sleeve up, it wouldn't look like he had bared, unfinished plastic underneath of it. Of course, he does have standard articulation for any of the Mego figures. We'll talk more about that in a moment. The one other thing that the figure has, always seems to be the case with these Mego figures, is that he actually has removable shoes. It's okay. I mean, if the older Mego figures always had removable clothing, and I guess they've followed the tradition of that. The only downside I've always noticed when it comes to these shoes is they always sit really loose on the figure. I mean, even just to put this on Ghostface's feet, how much floppiness there is on these shoes, because I feel they're always way too big for the figure. For the articulation here for Ghostface, again, we'll go back to his head. Even though it's contained in a robe hood here, you can still easily move his head back and forth, which is good. You can have the head looking up, it seems, only just by a little bit, and only looking down. I actually don't even think there's a ball joint here. I feel like it's only just a single swivel joint. And so that's about all you're really going to be able to get from the head sculpt. The arms at least can do a little bit better than that. You can bring Ghostface's arms out at 90 degrees, and that also gives you the chance to see the more tattered rags that he has that drape underneath the sleeves. I like this. The way, to the credit, actually, they've used a really good material for the robe. Something I'm almost considering to use. Not that I would really want to start to dismantle this guy, but if you weren't really crazy on the color that they chose for you, I'm sure you probably could get some mileage out of this robe and maybe use it for another figure, like something from NECA, for example. Still, though, the arms move forward, the arms move back. He has only a single hinge in his elbow, which allow at least the forearms to rotate back and forth. Ghostface, you can also rotate his hand all the way around. The upper torso is on a ball joint, unlike the head. You can at least do a lot more when it comes to his body, his top torso of his body. Legs split about that far. You can take the legs, you can move them forward, sure. Yeah, okay. You can move them back. He has a mild swivel at the top of the thigh, not really much though. Single hinge only seems to be the case for his knees. And then when it comes to his ankles, if you can overlook the fact that, yeah, he does have very floppy, not clown shoes. They're of the same size as his feet. They're just a little too big. And I part of me would love just to see if they could just mold the feet as one piece. I know it defeats the purpose. The whole thing about Mego is the idea that they're dressing up dolls. But I just wish like the feet could be all one piece instead of these just always flopping around. But either way, you can still hinge the feet up and back and forth this way. And you can rock them back and forth only just a little bit this way too. The thing about this, it makes sense from a standpoint of if you were able to go into a store, for example, where Megos are sold, like a comic book store. I've seen some Megos even showing up at Walmart. That's fine and good if you're able to then actually physically see these things in hand. If you don't see them in hand, unfortunately, again, you're only at the mercy of the person that's wherever is stocking these online, where you decide to pick up the figure for yourself, is then to them to decide what color you're going to be getting. I don't think that was necessarily a smart idea. If anything, I think it's one of those things where it's not a good idea to get this figure online unless you either don't care what color of mask you're going to be getting, or dare I even say, if you get more than one of these, it's even worse of a case where you don't even know what you're going to be getting. You could get two of the same colored mask. You could get alternating masks, different colors, which in a perfect world would be ideal. But again, it's only to the person that's stocking your order to decide exactly what color of Ghostface you're actually going to get. So I'm just checking Entertainment Earth's website where I actually had ordered the Mego Ghostface from, and I don't think it gives an indication that this is going to be a randomly selected item. I have gone on to other sites that actually sell figures and collectibles, and specifically Mego, and for their postings of the Ghostface, it does say it's a randomly selected item. You can't choose the color that you're going to be getting. Maybe there could be a possibility that in like a notes section or special instructions, you could maybe be able to put in the color, but it's not to guarantee necessarily that the person that's boxing up your order is going to follow those instructions, choose that specific Ghostface. They might still just go ahead and say, you know what, we've got more of this specific color. He's going to be getting an orange Ghostface. Oh, he wanted a blue one? No, apparently he wants an orange one. I think this is one of those cases where normally I would have said that you could find this guy in the stores. You could also find this guy online. But even though I ordered this guy online, I would almost in this case recommend picking this guy in the wild. Go to your various comic book stores that sell Megos. Again, some of the Walmarts and Targets, I believe, have now started to stock the Megos. Go maybe that route in order to get this figure. If you don't care the color, then it doesn't really matter. You could order this guy online. But if you are very meticulous about the color that you choose, you like the purple, but you don't want the blue, I probably would say not order this guy online. That being said, though, if you guys are interested and want to just test Lady Luck and get this one for yourself, I already said I did get this from Entertainment Earth. I'll provide the link down below in the video description. I can't, though, prom these. I'm sure, can't prom these. I guess they could prom these. No, they can't. They're not going to say, hey, listen, we promise we're going to give you the orange one. They're not going to do that. But if you guys are interested and would like to get this one from Entertainment Earth, you can click the link down below. I think the price in which this guy was being sold for was, again, like $22.99, $23, which about is the going rate nowadays for Mego figures. If you have had the chance to pick up the Ghostface Mego, let me know down below in the comments section which color you ended up getting, and were you happy with the color that you got. Also, if you didn't get the chance to get this one, of the 6 colors that they have shown, so again, there's like a teal, there's a blue, there's a purple, there's an orange, a pink, and it's even not quite white. It's sort of more of a silverish white. Of those 6 colors, what would be the color you'd be the most interested in getting for Ghostface? Let me know down below in the comments section. If you guys enjoyed this video, want to hit with a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing and you do want to stick around for more, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below that you're also turning on the bell notification. Sorry, what? You got a little bit of time extra on your hands? Well then, popping up at the very end of this video will be also a Mego playlist. Yes, of all the other things I've looked at for Mego over the years will be in that playlist, as well as now the recently looked at Ghostface. So if you have a little bit of time on your hands and you want to check that out, give it a gander. It's popping up at the very end of this video. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.